Hey, what's up, guys? I am back with another review today, and we're going to be talking about some new stuff that's going on with Neuma tattoo machines, specifically the Neuma 4. So yeah, I'm going to do like a little dive down so you guys can check out everything new that's going on. So, we've got some pretty dope stuff. Some new grips, all kinds of different colors, uh, multiple options for different cams and stuff. And you can see my fat belly right here. Let me tuck that in real quick. Alright? Do I look better? Anyway. Yeah, so I guess I'm going to start out by saying that I spent the last, let's say, 6 to 7 months tattooing with the Neuma 4 and actually testing it alongside every single other machine that I was testing. So for example, I spent a lot of time working with the Nova Unlimited and the Neuma 4 side by side. Literally every tattoo that I would do, I would have whatever machine I was trying out set up, and I would have the Neuma 4 set up at the same time. That way I was able to work with both machines and do parts of tattoos that were done with the Neuma 4 and parts of tattoos that were done with, for example, whatever, Nova Unlimited or whatever else I was working with. And one thing that I noticed out of all the tattoos that I did through all these months working with this specific machine here, Neuma 4, is that all the tattoos that I did and all the areas within the tattoos that I did with the Neuma 4, they all healed quicker, brighter. The saturation was more solid. It blew my mind. Even comparing it to the Nova Unlimited, which, I did come out and say that, yeah, it was my favorite machine because of the options that it had, but then Neuma decided to release a bunch of different cams and a bunch of different stroke profiles, and that kind of changed the game even more. So let's get into this dive down so you guys can see everything that's going on, and we'll talk about it and we'll go from there. Alright guys, so here we are in the dive down, and let's first talk about the grips that have come out recently. So these are 38mm in size. They're very, very comfortable. This one happens to be aluminum. This is called the Meteorite edition, and the color is kind of like an army green. I really, really love this color. I mean, as you can tell, most of my YouTube videos I wear with these type of colors. I guess this is kind of like my favorite color now. Okay, so he also recently released grips similar to this in a 33mm, and then you have the standard, this is a 26mm or 27mm grip. So you've got grips in varying sizes, which pretty much allow you to, have the desired width when you're tattooing, and that's great. These are also actually very easy to wrap, and I will show how to do that in this review, as Carson literally recently went on his Instagram page and showed how to bag and wrap the machine a certain way, and I kind of feel like if you're working with a wireless power pack, there's also another way to do it, and I'll show that as well. But let's talk about all these different cam options you have. I have 4 of them that I mainly work with, and they are all pretty much different stroke profiles. So if you guys don't know what the stroke profile is, you guys can go and check out my earlier review on the Neuma 4, and you can learn about what the stroke profiles are for the cams themselves. But pretty much it's allowing the needle dwell to dwell in the skin more or dwell in the skin less. So pretty much it's creating more of a snappier hitting machine or a softer hitting machine. It's not necessarily a harder hitting machine, because for that we'll get into these bearing arms here that I have. You guys can see. And these are two bearing arms. Both of these are different. One is solid brass and one is aluminum, and changing out these is very, very easy, and I'll show how to do that as well. Okay, but let's talk about these cams. So we have a 20% cam in a 3.6 millimeter stroke option, and this is pretty much like the standard cam that you'll get with the Neuma 4. It's the all-rounder cam, and you could use this cam technically for everything. I like the cam. It works great if you're doing super bold lines, or for anything really, technically, if you want to really get into how the cam works. I mean, I talked about this specific cam in my previous review, so if you guys want to check that out, you can. And then we have the 28% cam. So this cam enables the Neuma to run a bit softer than the 20%, and this is also a 3.6 millimeter throw stroke length. I like the 3.6. I tried the 2.7 and the 4.2, and I just feel like for me, for the way that I tattoo, the 3.6 millimeter stroke length is fine. I'm able to do pretty much everything and anything with it. And then you have the 40% cam, which allows the needle to dwell into the skin more. And this cam is great for solid saturation. So if you do a lot of, solid color work or solid black work, this cam, the 40% cam, is going to do wonders for you. I feel like the 28% cam works great for all kinds of things as well, like soft black and gray, and some color blending, layering. But then you have this newer cam that recently was released, and this is what is called the 33% magic cam, because literally it's magic. It literally turns the Neuma tattoo machine into like working with the Soul Nova Unlimited. It becomes more responsive than how it felt to me before, and it's just allowed me personally to work just wonders with it, and I feel like I can do everything and anything with it. It's literally like my favorite cam. Like, I could just swap out bearing arms and get the desired effect that I'm looking for with the machine. So let's talk about these bearing arms a little bit. So these are pretty much what's rotating within the Neuma machine itself. You guys can see inside of there. The bearing arm sits on that rod, and that rod is connected to the motor. Now, another thing that I like about the Neuma 4 is that if by any chance you do get a leak from your needle cartridge, it's minimal cleanup. Yes, you'll have to disinfect and sterilize this entire area, and I've even went as crazy as literally as crazy as washing my previous Neuma 4, and then I took some I literally took some oven cleaner to it to remove the anodizing. And I shit you not, after all of that insanity that I put the machine through, it still ran completely fine. And a buddy of mine has it now. It still works and runs amazing. So, getting into these bearing arms, they're pretty easy to put in and pretty easy to swap. When you order the standard Neuma 4, you're gonna probably get the brass bearing arm, and that pretty much goes in there like that. And you can just rotate it, and there's a little hole on the side, and you can just stick your provided hex key here, and you'll just come in and you can just tighten down that bearing arm. Now I kind of got an extra O-ring on here, which I kind of put on myself. It won't come with that extra O-ring. What you'll get is this, what you see. Now, the O-rings that are on this machine are very easy to remove and use when you're bagging the machine, and I'll take that off in a minute. So, easily to swap out these bearing arms. With the brass bearing arm, you get more of a harder hit. With the aluminum bearing arm, you get much more of a softer hit. I like working with both, depending upon what I'm doing. And that allows me to, switch out my cams very easily as well, and allows the machine to work in a multiple different perspective. So you can go from a hard hitting liner that runs like a coil machine all the way to a literally like a standard hitting rotary machine, and you can have everything in between that range. So it's pretty awesome, and it's completely made me fall in love with the Neuma 4, and it's ultimately now it's my favorite machine. I don't want to work with anything else. Oops, at all, like ever again. Okay, so let me show you guys how to bag this machine. It's pretty simple. And I'm going to cut 2 pieces of clipcord sleeve here. So the first thing that I do is I will pop off this O-ring. It's a little bit difficult to get off with gloves. So mind you, I am going to remove one of my gloves just so I can pop this O-ring off, because it's a little bit easier when you kind of got a nail to get in there. Okay. Let me put on a glove again. So yeah, I mean, as long as your hands are disinfected and washed, you can kind of get in there and get that O-ring off, and then put some gloves on and set your machine up. I mean, I found that to be alright. So what I'll do is I will put this bagging on. I will put one of my cams into the machine, and then I'll take this O-ring here, put it right over that bagging, that clipcord sleeve, and then I'll bring that sleeve down some. Okay, so that it's kind of like that, so that the threading on the Neuma 4 itself can still go on to the grip here, nice and easy. So we'll get that on, and then we will take some more clipboard sleeve here, open it up. Now the 38 millimeter grip is a little bit larger than your standard clipboard sleeve, so you kind of want to, I guess, stretch the clipboard sleeve out, and yeah, don't rip it like that, unfortunately. Let me get another piece here. Okay. Alright, so I kind of like stretch it open a little bit, just a little, so that I can kind of get it over this grip, because this is a pretty wide grip. It's nice and thick. And then I will first, of course, get it on there. Okay. Can be a little bit of a pain in the butt to do. Alright. But once you get it on, it's good to go. And you want to kind of bring that up, I'd say, maybe about even with the edge of your grip here. And then I kind of roll it over. I'll get a piece of microspore tape, clear tape, whatever, and I will do something like that. Get a little bit more right here. Alright, and then I'll take some cohesive wrap, and I will wrap Neuma up, just like so. Okay, and then you can put as much or as little cohesive wrap on the machine as you like. And since I mainly work with wireless power supplies, I pretty much cut that off. I will bag this, and this just goes on like that, and boom, you're ready to rock. Simple as that. Alright, so we've got yeah, all kinds of new stuff, and I've been loving working with this machine. It's absolutely amazing, and you guys should definitely check it out. So head on over to NeumaTattooMachines.com and order one, guys. Yeah. If you guys have any further questions, you can leave them in the comments, and I will reply to everyone as best as I can. And yeah, and that's that. Alright, guys, thank you, and please subscribe and give me a like.